Or you wish to go streaming, We're Traveler? Yes, indeed, I do wish to go streaming, We're Traveler. What is this? Subscribe to earn drops with Duolingo. Interesting. I do not care about such things. Yes, indeed. Alright, well, greetings to the VOD watchers. Hopefully I sound okay. Hopefully I don't sound terrible. Welcome to another episode of Nixxiom's Cigar Lounge. We are here today in the Cigar Lounge, and today I have two cigars potentially to choose from. First one is I have an H. Upmann 1844 Nicaragua A.J. Fernandez Heritage. Fernandez, sorry. I've never smoked that cigar before, so I am tempted to smoke that one. And then, of course, I have a New World Decenio. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that one either, I admit. Let me show you guys what these look like. If I could open the bag. So we got this New World Decenio here. This is a very, very good cigar, let me tell you what. But I will say, in the 3 or 4 times that I've smoked this bad boy, it has hit me pretty good each and every time. So I would love to smoke it, but at the same time, I kind of worry that because I haven't eaten too much today, that I might get cigar sick. And then, of course, we have the Heritage here, so I'm probably going to do something new. What games have you been enjoying, man? We're going to talk about that in 1 second, my friend. 1 second. I gotta light up, dude. Let me just put this back real fast. But what's up, dude? Mr. Stubby Jolie's. You're the first one here. I think I have baby vomit on me, but you're just going to have to pretend that doesn't exist. Caps, my bad. No problem, dude. One moment. What games have I been enjoying? Mostly, recently, I've been playing a lot of WoW, but I admit that I've been playing it on a personal private server. Hold on 1 second. I've never smoked this before, so just kind of want to smell it and smell how good or bad it is. It smells alright. Smells like your standard, barn horse butthole cigar smell. And now, where's my cutter? Ah, there it is. Yeah, it is. Is that classless WoW or some classic variant? So I have so like recently I did this like big channel rebrand over on like the main Nixxiom channel, right? And I've been focusing a lot more on like lore and storytelling content, sort of. There's been a few videos that have come out recently that, like, kind of like when I was like ranking the lore characters, like I already had that planned before the channel rebrand, so I just kind of wanted to do that and just get it out. But because I've been working on like, all this lore and storytelling, in order to get those like really cool like cinematic shots and stuff, I have like a personal WoW private server. It's just me on there. And that's where I film all of those videos. And private server technology is insane. Like, it is wild. Like, you can have, like, bots running around on the server now. Like, AI bots, like, going around and, like, doing quests and working the auction house and stuff. So you can, like, literally play WoW just solo now. Like, it is crazy. So I actually have a character that I've been leveling on that server. I'm only, like, level 8. I'm leveling up, like, a Draenei Shaman. And this is a Wrath of the Lich King server, keep in mind. But I'm leveling up a Draenei Shaman because I've been working on the audiobook reading of the story, the not-so-short story, Unbroken, lately. And so I'm kind of like on this big Draenei fix. Like, I love the Draenei. They've always been one of my favorite races in the game. And so I just put out a video today, talking about the story of the Draenei. Now, the problem is that no one else cares about the Draenei. So, the video today is probably one of the best edited videos that like I've done in a while, and yet it is the worst performing video that I think I've released in like 3 years, because no one gives a shit about the Draenei, but I care about them. Okay, and that's what matters. So I'm leveling up this Draenei character, kind of getting my Draenei fix, and just kind of really taking in the story of like Azure Mist Isle and Blood Mist Isle and stuff, and that's been a lot of fun. And so but everything's kind of Blood Elves right now, so I kind of feel like I kind of gotta do some Blood Elf content, you know what I mean? And I'm also working on some videos about like Silver Pine Forest. Like I did that video, like the best forgotten villain, a classic, which is in Silver Pine Forest. And I recently, as of today, I've been working on this one video, which is like a homage to Silver Pine Forest, and it's amazing storytelling. That video is going to do terrible. It's probably going to do absolutely terrible, but I like it, and so you know what? I'm going to do it. Let me cut this real fast. There's a million people talking in the chat. Let me just cut this cigar, and then I'll read the chat. Don't worry, I'm not missing anything. I was just answering a really complicated question. Okay. First time streaming in a little while, though, fellas. I apologize, but kind of have an excuse. I have a child now, a daughter, and she is a little over 4 months old now, and the past 4 months have been like I streamed a little bit in the past 4 months, for those of you that have been here, but it, you know, lots of lack of sleep, you know, on top of that, like, you know, trying to, you know, balance baby with also like doing all the YouTube content. You know, honestly, you know, YouTube side of things hasn't been doing that well recently. I mean, granted, it is kind of that time of the year when things kind of dip before they go up. So, you know, I've been kind of like, you know, really like invested in there. But now that things have calmed down, now that baby's kind of sleeping like more, like, you know, instead of like 15-minute intervals, now I kind of have a little bit of a window to actually start streaming again, and I'm very happy to come back. Last thing that I'll say before I, like, you know, dive into reading the chat, I have made a new YouTube channel. I'll probably start advertising it more on future cigar streams, but I made a channel called Nixxiom's Cigar Lounge, where I'll probably be uploading all my cigar stream VODs, as well as maybe like important discussions maybe that we have, because every now and then we kind of get onto like some really deep topics here on the cigar streams, and I do kind of make it a rule with the cigar stream of like, this is kind of where, you know, I can kind of drop gamer Nixxiom, and like, you know, we can talk about some, you know, more like heavy stuff if you guys want. On my normal streams I wouldn't do that, but yeah. Now, where did my matches go? I don't know where my matches went. Oh well, I got a gas station lighter right here. That's fine. I have a 16-month-old. I feel you. Babies are the best, though. They're the best, but very exhausting. Very exhausting. First few months, like, having a child is really difficult for those that have never had one, just because, like, baby doesn't give anything back. Like, baby cries, baby poos, baby needs to eat, baby gives nothing back, like, other than just crying and screaming. However, once you hit that, like, 3-month, 4-month period, kind of like where we're at right now, baby starts talking, baby starts smiling, baby starts making eye contact. A lot more enjoyable, you know, kind of like, you know, your child like smiles at you when you wake her up in the morning, and she's like, you know, she like giggles a little bit, and that's when it's like, oh yeah, here we go. Now it's more worth it, I guess, or, well, maybe that's not the right way to put it, but like now it's feels more rewarding, I guess. All right, hold on 1 second. I'll scroll up in the chat 1 second and see what I missed. But yes, firstborn. I was going to be really classy today, and I was going to light up with a match, but I guess I left my matches inside. So, you have to deal with the gas station lighter today. One second, just getting a good light going. Good to see you, Nixxiom. What is up, Xavier? What's up, dude? Good to see all you guys. These past like few months have been very exhausting, very tiring, but it's been worth it. And I have very much missed streaming. You know, it was kind of like I had really just gotten back into streaming. I made all those like new alerts and stuff for my streams. Like I was having fun, you know, doing it, and then, you know, kind of like baby kind of got a little bit in the way there. Let me scroll up and let's see what people said. Been loving your WoW videos lately. Mr. or Mrs. Teodora Love says, congrats on the baby. Thank you very much. Lore videos have been fire. love the Draenei one. I'm glad some people like the Draenei one. You know, that's an underperforming video, but it is evergreen, so, you know, maybe it'll do well, like, in the future. Maybe Blizzard's next expansion will be a Draenei expansion, and everybody will want to know about the origin of the Draenei. And I think that's it. October 11th will be 10 years since I started following you here on Twitch. 10 years. That is crazy. Let me move this bad boy maybe a little bit that way. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's good enough. I want to make sure that my face isn't covering the chat. Let me just move it a little bit more that way. There we go. That looks pretty good. So, I got to give you guys an update. Unless you guys have a specific question or thing in mind, I'm about to give you guys the big-ass 4-month update. Just let me know. We got about 1 minute. Pretty good so far. If you didn't watch, if you weren't here for the very beginning, I'm smoking an AJ Fernandez Heritage cigar. I've never smoked one of these before. It's pretty good so far. I was actually going to come back to streaming tomorrow. I was going to do my cigar stream Friday night. Figured that's probably the better night to do a cigar stream because most of you guys are probably home from work, and the last thing you want to do is listen to some big-ass fat bastard, talk about WoW and history and stuff and cigars and things you don't care about. But, Friday nights you do. Friday nights you want to talk about that sort of stuff. You want to listen to that. But, I figured, I got a cigar, and I am very tired of video editing. Like, I am so tired of it, man. I also did a lot of yard work today, like mowing the lawn and cleaning out the gutters and stuff, and just picking up branches. And I'm a little bit eepy, as my wife would say, or not eepy, but I'm a little bit like, damn, I just kind of want to sit here and smoke a cigar. And I was tempted to sit in here and just read Lord of the Rings, like the cool guy that I am. But I figured maybe it's a good time just for me to hang out and smoke with you guys. All I have to say is that Garrosh did nothing wrong. That's right. I dedicate Friday nights specifically for big-ass fat bastards. That's right. That's right. So, let me give you guys my big update. My big fat-ass update. So, the past few months have been very difficult behind the scenes, I admit. Life is hard right now. Life is challenging. On one hand, you have baby. I've already talked about that. Baby comes with her own challenges. On the other hand, you have things like, for example, recently my wife and I decided that we really need a new vehicle. So we looked around for a vehicle here in Charlotte. We found one for sale. It was a GMC. It was like 2017 or something. Had 200,000 miles on it, had been bought at auction, it had been repaired, and it was for sale for like $4,500. Well, 200,000 miles, not exactly what you want, but GMC, that could go like 300,000 miles, that's not too bad. But I have bought repaired cars before, and I have gotten screwed over in the past, and so we went down there, and I was like, I want to test drive the living shit like out of this car before I take it off the lot. So guy finished fixing it, got in the car, test drove it for a good 40 minutes, 30 minutes or something, drove it all around Charlotte, no big deal, no problem. Paid the money, got the car, great. Started driving that thing down the highway, wife's in our other car, I'm in this one. Driving down the highway, about 40 minutes down the road, making our way back home. Man, anytime I was accelerating above 60 miles per hour, it felt like that engine was just... It was like the car was just vibrating whenever I went to accelerate. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This car has a transmission issue. You've got, if you don't know anything about cars, fixing a transmission, that could be $5,000, dude. That's expensive. So, anyway... So we've kind of just had a car that we really can't drive sitting in the driveway for a while now. As of today I actually took it into a shop, and they like looked it over. They gave us like a $900 price tag to fix it. I don't have that money right now, I admit, and but my mother actually reached out to us, and my mother's been very supportive, and she was like, like I could help you out, like, she's doing very, very good right now, and so she was like, I'll pay for it. So I was like, oh, it'd be a huge help, like, we could pay for it in the future, just not right now, and so she's gonna pay for it. So that's really cool. So yeah, bit of a frustrating time, kind of losing that much money and then not having a vehicle to drive, but hopefully they're able to fix it. And come next week, that's when they said that it should be done. They found like 5 things wrong with it, and hopefully it'll be good. There's a few other things wrong with it, like the AC stopped working like halfway down the road, or it was working, but it was just blowing like normal air, not warm or cold. And then also, for some reason, the steering assist like came on while I was driving down the highway, and it was about like 40 minutes down the road or something, and it just would not turn off. Like, I don't know why the steering assist came on. It's like what happens when you're like on ice or water or something. It makes it harder to like steer, but it came on, it just wouldn't go off. So little things like that. So hopefully they fix that. That was a big frustration though. I mean, very big, because our original plan, admittingly, was no, it's not under warranty, unfortunately. The original plan was to get this car and then sell our other one, because our other one's really old. So it's like we lose the money, but then we just get it right back because we'd sell the other one. But instead, we just lost the money. So, that kind of, created a bit of a financial pickle, I admit. It's like, oh, crap. Well, there were in our bank account. We got bills to pay. So, worse not, yeah, dude, buying a car immediately broke. It's not the first time it's happened to me, dude. I have terrible luck when it comes to cars, guys. Like, I might have like lucked out when it came to like beards and like humility and handsomeness, but like I did not luck out when it came to like vehicles. I have terrible vehicle luck. The other good thing though that I will say is that I almost have my Ford Ranger fixed. I have a 2003 Ford Ranger. It's the only car I've ever owned where I've gotten car envy, or a truck. Everyone and their mom wants to buy that Ford Ranger off me because it's such a good vehicle. But it's been broken, sort of. The CPS has been broken on it, the crankshaft position sensor, and finally the other day, like, I crawled under there and I fidangled under that vehicle, ripped out the CPS, put a brand new one in, and then I was like, great, it is now fixed. I jump started it. It had been sitting for a little bit. Jump started it, started driving it, check engine light comes on, apparently a cylinder is misfiring. Okay, most likely that's the spark plugs. My spark plug set, for some reason, I only have a few like little things for it, so none of them fit for some reason. So my friend Sean's coming over later this week. He's got a really big like spark plug set, so we're gonna try to replace that, and hopefully my truck will be working. So yes, give me your car, Fat. Which car do you want? Which one do you want? Hello, Nixxiom. It's been a while, dude. It's been a while. What's up, guys? I'm kind of giving my big 4-month update, since it's been like a hot minute since I've been here. But I had a kid. It wasn't because I didn't want to be here because you guys smell bad or something. I mean, you do. You guys reek. But that's not why I wasn't here. But I'm back. I'm cool. Are you turning into Oxhorn with your cigars? If so, very based. No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, maybe a little bit, but there's a difference between me and Oxhorn. One. Well, first I'm going to say this. The first thing is that I've been smoking cigars for a very long time. I've been smoking cigars since I was 19 years old. I'm 33 now, so that's what, like 50 years? Like, it's been a long time that I've been smoking cigars. Probably Oxhorn got started around the same age. But I didn't get started smoking cigars because of Oxhorn. I got started smoking cigars because of J.R. Tolkien. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, J.R. Tolkien don't smoke cigars, Nixxiom. You're an idiot. Well, hold on a second, friend. Calm down. I got into it because J.R. Tolkien, Gandalf pipes and whatnot, Lord of the Rings. I started smoking a pipe. Then I started smoking cigars. I realized that cigar smoking doesn't have as much maintenance as pipe smoking, and I was sold. Here I am now today. Anyway, many cigars later. What was the question? Oh yeah, Oxhorn. The next thing, I can't be Oxhorn because I don't like Fallout. I said it. I don't like Fallout. I don't like the post-apocalyptic setting. Like, I've never been a fan of it. It's never interested me. It's never tickled my fancy. Whether you're talking about Terminator or Fallout or whatever, I just don't care. You know, but you like Skyrim. Yeah, Skyrim is cool. Skyrim is based and red-pilled. You know, Fallout, though, that's like little wiener energy, dude. That's like low testosterone, like Antifa, like soy boy left-wing energy. Like, you can't... You got time for that, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You need to get a pipe like a true giant. Bitch, do you not see my pipe collection? I have pipes from all over the world, you sand lobster. I've got pipes from Germany. I've got a pipe from the UK. I've got a pipe from Arizona. I've got a pipe from, like, pretty much every single state I've ever visited. The only state that I visited that I don't have a pipe from is Alaska. Alright? I love my pipes. I have a big pipe collection. Dude, I was going to smoke a pipe the other day out here with my friend Sean, but unfortunately, for some reason, I can't find my pipe tobacco. Which is probably a good thing, because I haven't smoked a pipe in probably, like, 2 years, so that pipe tobacco is probably, like, pretty dry. But, you know, that's alright. That's fine. I need to puff this more. It's starting to go out a little bit. Have you ever read Dune? I started reading the first book, I think like a few months before the first movie came out, so it kind of like lined up perfectly. But I don't know, I just couldn't really get into it. Like, sci-fi as well is a genre that's... When I was younger, I really liked sci-fi. I loved, you know, Star Wars and spaceships and intergalactic travel and all that malarkey. I loved it. But as I got older, I just kind of lost my interest in it. Like, I can't really think of a sci-fi universe that really, like, stirs me. I'm, like, totally a creature of the past. You know, recently, you know, Mr. Though Ander, you know, he said he had me at Cigars and Beowulf. I mean, recently, one thing that I'm very proud to say is, not proud, but, so I really like Beowulf. You know, I consider myself a little bit of a dime store Beowulfian, you know, scholar. And, I own many copies of Beowulf. Most people own this copy right here, Mr. Seamus's. It's a good copy, very approachable. There's J.R. Tolkien's copy as well, or his translation, but it was never finished. Even the book begins with an apology from Christopher saying, hey, this is a rough draft. Like, don't take this seriously. But recently, you probably can see the sheen, as a sort of family heirloom to pass down to my children one day, I got this very, very nice copy of Beowulf maybe like a month ago. And I think the cool thing about it is I'll show you some of like the imagery from it. Very much inspired by the Book of Kells. I don't know if you know what the Book of Kells is, but the imagery in it is fantastic. Things like that. It's a good translation, too. I honestly don't know who translated it. It doesn't even say. Don't say nothing. But, you know, if I read something, just opening line, let's see, hear how it sounds. Actually, let's start with Seamus's. Start with Seamus's translation. He's the easy one. He's your kind of like, you know, like, I don't actually want to read Beowulf, like, you know, or something that you kind of give to, like, you know, a younger person to read. This is Seamus's translation. It reads, "So the Spear Danes in days gone by, and the kings who ruled them had courage and greatness. We have heard of those princes' heroic campaigns. There was Shield Chafeson, scourge of many tribes, a wrecker of mead benches, rampaging among foes. This terror of the hall troops had come far. A foundling to start with, he would flourish later on, as his powers waxed and his worth was proved. In the end, each clan of the outlying coasts beyond the Whale Road had to yield to him and begin to pay tribute. That was one good king." That's Seamus's translation. Now, let's listen to this one. A little bit, you know, here we go. You also have, of course, the old English on this side, which is nice. Very much appreciated.
Low praise of the prowess of people-kings, of spear-armed Danes in days long sped, we have heard, and what honour the Aethelings won, oft child of the chafing from squandered foes. From many a tribe the mead bench tore, a wing the earls. Since erst he lay friendless, a foundling fate repaid him, for he waxed under welkin, in wealth he throve, till before him the folk both far and near, who house by the whale road heard his mandate, gave him gifts a good king he.
A little bit different. So, love this translation. I think it sounds great. It's very wordy, it's got like that kind of like that beauty of the words that I very much enjoy. Exiled Ranger, thank you very much for gifting a sub, dude. Thank you very, very much. I've been working a lot on my Nixxiom and Mookluk book recently. A lot. I think I'm like a third of the way done with it at this point, and I'm really hammering on with it. I'm really happy with the story so far. I mean, it's been great. Mookluk came to visit, actually, for a week, for those of you that know who that is. He's a friend of mine of many years, and he came here to America for a week yet again, and we took him all across North Carolina. Took him camping out at the Outer Banks, went up to the mountains, played D&D, and that was a really, really good week. Talk about the book. This is the first that I'm hearing about that. Please, sorry. Oh, you don't know what Beowulf is? So Beowulf, in a nutshell, this is kind of like the first piece of English, in big air quotes, literature that we have. So, long time ago, a bunch of like Catholic monks got together, and they like heard of this folk tale that was being told called Beowulf, and they wrote it down. It was, a tale of the folk, and it is a poem. It's an epic poem. It's kind of like the Iliad, and but obviously, well, it was kind of penned maybe around like. The story is probably, it takes place in 600 to 800 AD. So, and it takes place in Northern Europe, kind of like southern Scandinavia, Denmark, and lower Sweden. And it's about, well, I could go into the whole story, but, I'll say that for a second, or save that for a moment later. But the story is a very pagan story, but the Christian monks who wrote it down, they really put a lot of a Christian spin on things. So like maybe some obvious changes that they might have made is like when Beowulf and his thanes, when they arrive in Daneland, which is modern day Zealand in Denmark, when they land there, there's like a bit in the poem where it's like, oh, they gave offerings to God and thanked Jesus Christ and stuff. Probably in reality they might have done like a sacrifice to Odin or Thor, Njord or something. Probably not Odin actually, because like the cult of Odin was actually very, very small, and it was like up in like upper Norway, but at the same time, well, I'm not going to get into all that. But anyway, but at the same time, Hrothgar is a descendant of Odin. But anyway, so big epic poem. It's like the epic poem of like Northern Europe, and if you want like a good like window into the sort of like the pagan worldview pre-Christian, kind of like the Vikings, the Germanic tribes, Beowulf is a good window into it, although not a perfect one. And Beowulf was a poem that inspired authors like J.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings and such, C.S. Lewis, and many, many others. So, fantastic piece of literature. It's my favorite. And so, yeah. And, I've been working on a Nixxiom and Mookluk book for a little while now. I have it all, pretty much planned out. It's all, written out in bullet point form. And now I'm just kind of going chapter by chapter, slowly, writing the book itself. The rough drafts, I should say. And I'm about a third of the way done. Maybe a little bit more, nearing halfway. And that's been a lot of fun. I also am working on another book, too, but that's like a historical book that would take too long to explain. But yeah, the Nixxiom Mookluk book, it's something that me and Mookluk actually talked about while he was here. I asked him if he wanted to maybe help me write it a little bit. Maybe be more involved in the writing process, kind of like how we used to do like Machinima back in the day, him and I. So maybe like I'd write something, I'll send it to him, he'll review it and be like, Mukluk wouldn't actually say that. You know, he would say this or something. So I asked him if he wanted to be more involved, and he said yeah. So once I'm done with like my next like maybe 3 chapters, I'll probably submit it all to him and see what he thinks. Let me relight this bad boy real fast. 1 second. More updates. In the past 4 months, did a channel rebrand on Nixxiom, sort of. I'm now just focused on like lore and storytelling content. There's a lot that I could say about that. I admit it has been a lot of fun. Seeing you and Mukluk role-playing your characters in D&D was some wild fun. Yeah, so Exiled Ranger, so I actually invited him to come over to my house because he lives here in North Carolina, and Mukluk was in town, so I was like, hey man, we're gonna play D&D. Like, you know, you want to join? And he's like, yeah. So he came down and oh, look at my like alert. It's all messed up there. Hold on, let's see if I can fix that. Wait, I can't like right click on this. I can't right click with this laptop for some reason. It's weird. Oh, wait, there we go. Transform. Fit to screen. Oh, that's terrible. Well, it's not actually going to work, but you know what? Whatever. Righteous Paladin, thank you for 7 months, dude. Thank you very much. 1 second. The Germans got jealous of the Beowulf story, so they decided to write their own epic poem, and that's how the story of Siegfried, the Dragon Slayer, was born. I've never heard that, personally. I mean, like, Siegfried comes from the saga of the Volsungs, and I don't know... I mean, maybe. I probably wouldn't... I wouldn't say it was probably jealousy, but there probably was a connection, because, like... fun historical fact, for those that don't know this. You know, today, dragons are everywhere. When we think of fantasy, we think of dragons. It's the knight fighting the dragon, over and over and over. But if you look into Europe's old history, the dragon very, very rarely appears in, like, the old myths and stories. In fact, the dragon really only appears 3 times. The first time is in Beowulf, because Beowulf kills a dragon at the end, and the dragon kills him. The second time is Siegfried. He kills a dragon. It's also called Sigurd, the Dragon Slayer. And the third one is sort of, you know, you can kind of translate it, you know, one way or another, but, you know, there's a dragon at the base of the Yggdrasil world tree in, like, the Poetic Edda. So the dragon is a very rare, like, creature that appears, but every time it does appear in, like, old myth and folklore, it always has this tremendous spiritual, almost, significance. And Tolkien wrote a great essay on that. I don't remember what it was called. It was so long ago when I wrote it, but he just kind of went on this small rant about the importance of dragons. And I think it actually was his essay, his very famous one called, like, Beowulf, the Monsters and the Critics, where Tolkien pretty much went around to the academic minds of the day, of his day, who really did not like the poem Beowulf. They thought it was poo. And Tolkien said, well, that's because you guys are dumb. And he put them in their place. If you want a nutshell of why they thought it was poo, I guess I did say that I would explain this. The story of Beowulf is pretty simple. It's just the Danes are doing great. You know, they're a happy tribe and everything is awesome, except for this war with the Heathobards in the south, those dirty northern Germans. Anyway, so Daneland's doing great. All of a sudden a monster pops up. His name's Grendel, son of Cain. And Grendel starts causing problems after problems. And they're like, wow, what do we do? And I think it's for 7 years, Grendel is killing people and just, you know, causing terror. So then a friggin', like, blonde-haired Swede... Police car just flew by. So then this blonde-haired Swedish guy shows up, and he's like, my name's Beowulf, I'm gonna kick its ass. So Beowulf kills Grendel by, like, wrestling it and ripping off his arm. Then he fights this sea monster that's at the bottom of a lake. And then he goes home and he becomes king, and he's like, great, and everything's awesome. And then a dragon attacks because someone stole its magic cup. And then the dragon is terrorizing the land, and Beowulf goes and fights the dragon, and he kills it, but the dragon bites him. And then Beowulf dies. But he is survived through one of his thanes, Weaklove, because he was the only thane that remained with Beowulf to the very end. And so Beowulf bestows upon him his kingdom after he begs Weaklove and says, before I die, let me see my gold and my treasure and whatnot. So, again, maybe getting a little bit of a bit of syncretism there, because on one hand, you have Beowulf kills the dragon, but he dies to the dragon because the dragon is venomous. So you have a bit of a pagan thing going on there, because if you know the story of the god Donar, or Thor, Thor fights the world serpent, Jormungandr, and he kills it, but the world serpent bites him and he dies to its venom. However, you also have some Christianity in there, because Weaklove remains behind, and maybe this isn't Christian at all, maybe it's pure pagan from, its origin. But it is interesting that we have this one thane of Beowulf that stays with him unto his death, and Beowulf bestows upon him his kingdom. Very Christian with Jesus and his relationship to John. So the beloved disciple, because John stays with Christ all the way to the cross at his death. So, but at the same time, in pagan society, loyalty and whatnot is a really big thing, and it is a great honor to die, with your Lord, or to remain with him during his death. So maybe that's not syncretism, maybe it's just a coincidence, but we don't know. So anyway, so the reason why people really didn't like this story is because it was pretty simple. Beowulf doesn't really have any personality other than I'm going to kill some monsters, and you're going to watch and see how cool I am. And then he just talks about how awesome he is the whole time. And then he does that. He kills some monsters, and then he dies. And that's pretty much it. And then, so a lot of people didn't like it for a long time, but they appreciated it because it was like the first, old piece of English literature that we had. And then Tolkien showed up and pretty much told all the scholars of the day, he was like, well, the reason why I don't like this poem so much is because you are treating this poem as what you want it to be rather than what it actually is. And so it's because of your presumptions going into the poem, expecting it to be this or that you just don't get it. And but if you go into it appreciating it for what it actually is and what it's trying to convey, and really trying to understand why was this story passed on when so many other stories were not. Anyway, so Tolkien wrote a huge essay on it, and and now Beowulf is inspiring people left and right, like fantasy authors and stuff, and it's fantastic. So anyway, Chris, what's up, dude? How's it going, man? What is up? Siegfried and Beowulf do share a lot of similar traits. They do. They most certainly do. The idea of the heroic dragon slayer is just all present all throughout European folklore and mythology. I wonder, personally, it's not all present, but I do wonder sometimes if they're obviously when Christianity came into Europe, it had to super syncretize with the native religion, otherwise it would have died out. And so, today we kind of always see these images of Archangel Michael, crushing the devil, and Mary crushing the devil under her foot and everything. And I wonder if this sort of obsession with the dragon slayer kind of influenced that even to this day. Hold on, my wife's walking out. Yes? What's up? You want one of your cigarettes? Second.
I was just gonna grab it.
Oh, no, you're good. You're just gonna stand just off screen awkwardly while I just talk while you're smoking a cigarette?
Is that okay?
Yeah, I don't care. How's baby?
She finally fell asleep.
Finally fell asleep. Yeah.
I can say hi.
I mean, if you want, you can say hi. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to talk to you. There's no.
I don't think I've ever shown my face. Right.
I don't know. You don't have to walk all the way over there, you barbarian. I mean, you can chill right there. People, Undead Fish says hi. Let's see. Didn't most of the pagan gods essentially translate into angels when the cultures mixed? No. So here's what the church did when the church encountered the European Germanic pagan. Well, actually, that's a huge topic. I'm going to keep it simple. Otherwise, we'd be here all night. Long story short, the first thing the church did was they were well, everything that you guys believe in is demons. And demons are gay and stupid. So, like, you can't believe in that. And all, like, the ancestor worshipping pagans were like, you're dumb. Like, shut up. And that didn't work. And so then the Christians were like, well, let's just try killing these people and fighting them. And so they fought them and killed them and stuff, and forced conversion and stuff. And that kind of worked in some areas because paganism is very pragmatic, Germanic paganism anyway. That kind of worked. But it wasn't really working because all you were doing was creating pagan martyrs, and people are naturally empathetic, right? So then the church switched to a new tactic, or, well, not the church, I don't want to use that word, because, like, it's not like the whole of the organization. It was just kind of like individuals, monks and priests and evangelists and stuff. They switched to a new tactic, and it was this. And this is kind of what you see in, like, the Eddas and stuff. It was very popular back in the day to say that one's ancestry was from Troy. That's right, the Trojans from the Iliad. And so we have this weird thing that pops up in history where the priests are pretty much telling the pagans, like, okay, look, like, yeah, like, Odin and friends, like, they actually existed. We don't even deny that. I mean, like, the poem Beowulf even talks about how, like, Odin, he came from Asia. And he conquered, Denmark, and he conquered southern Sweden, and he gave Sweden to this son, and he gave Denmark to this son, and Hrothgar is, one of the descendants of this son, the Skuldungs and whatnot, blah, blah. Like, oh yeah, like, Odin and friends, they were real people. They were just, like, really great ancestors from Troy. And they were so great, and because you guys believe in ancestor worship and stuff, all that happened was you guys made a big oopsie, and you took your ancestors and inflated them to godhood when you shouldn't have done that. But they were real people. And people were like, okay, I can kind of vibe with that a little bit, because it wasn't so insulting, I suppose. And, yeah, and then, of course, then suddenly when the people actually converted, then we kind of, go full circle back to, but anyway, we actually lied. They were all demons. So, anyway, dude, it's Kuriad. What's up, dude? So, but, I believe a lot of pagans were paid to convert. But it's centuries long. Well, they weren't paid. I hold the opinion of this. This would take a while to explain, but, like, Germanic paganism is a very pragmatic religion. It's not Greek in the way that it thinks and in the way that it operates. It's just very pragmatic. It's like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it works, that means it's good. It must be good in some way. This is where, like, boast culture, like boast and toast culture comes from in, like, the Germanic world. Like, a man will boast and say, like, I am favored by the gods. And it's like, okay, well, prove it. Prove it, bitch. Let's see it. Show me your strong haminga. Show me. But I think what happened was just slowly over time as, like, the Christian world, was opening up all these avenues of trade and economic growth. And then also just, connection with all these foreign cultures and stuff, and of course as Christianity, like, or as Christians, like, defeated pagans in battles and whatnot, I think that, like, kind of the average pagan, kind of looked at things and they were like, well, maybe these Christians, they got something going on here, and they kind of converted because of that. Some were forcibly converted, no doubt. Some probably converted because it was the trending thing of the day. It's kind of like when we were growing up, man, it was the coolest thing ever to be an atheist. Like, oh, Christians are dumb. Religious people are stupid. It was like this trendy thing to be an atheist. Now, if you're an atheist, it's like a meme. Like, you're a joke, like a fedora wearing, like, idiot. So it's like, so some people probably converted just because it was the thing. Like, oh, look at me, I am a Christian. Look at my cross. Like, I go to mass. Like, these, like, weird Swedish, like, Danish, like, Christian people. They didn't even know what they were talking about. We even see, like, the Anglo-Saxons and stuff, like, their old, like, artwork and stuff. Like, they depict Jesus and his apostles as a bunch of, like, naked berserkers, like, going around killing people with spears. So we got this very weird syncretism going on where you got people probably going to mass on Sunday and going to the bloat on Monday. So, and that was just the thing back then. It's kind of just how it was. People were probably paid to convert, sure. I'm sure also corruption had a thing to do with it, because in the Germanic world, like, if things are going bad, you blame the chieftain. You blame, like, the leader's luck.
The leader's haminya has soured, and so typically what you do is you sacrifice him. In the Christian world, though, if things are going bad, that's usually the sins of the people, not necessarily the sins of the leader. So the leader kind of gets out, like, gets out good. He doesn't get tied to a tree and stabbed repeatedly, and then his body thrown into a peat bog. So that probably was a factor in a lot of, like, the nobility, the aristocracy of the time, like, converting, and it was probably a very complicated thing. And anybody that says, like, it was just violence, or it was just the thing of the day, or it's like, people are complicated. People convert for all sorts of reasons. I'm sure, like, some butthole was just walking down the street one day, and he saw a branch blow funny in the trees, and he was like, Jesus. And he became a Christian just like that. Like, you never know. People are weird. So, it's been 1,000 years since Nixxiom was alive. Yes. Yes, indeed. It's been 1,000 years since I've relit my cigar. I must do this again. What is it, wife?
No.
Why are you looking at me like you want to kill me?
I don't.
What are you doing? Oh, you're ashing your cigarette. I've got, like, a thing, like, right here.
But it's over there.
Well, I mean, like, I could, like, put it right here.
Dumbass.
Goodness gracious. You see this? You see how this woman abuses me live on stream? This domestic non-violence that I have to deal with?
I
Right.
love you.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. I don't even know if they can hear her. Or if you guys can hear her. Guys, you hear that, that stupid sounding animal off screen? That was my wife. That's domestic non-violence. Let's see, I was shining last night, didn't catch any deer, but seen a couple of skunks. Dude, I don't know what has happened this year, but it's like the year of the skunk. So many skunks, and for some reason, they all keep dying near our house. Dude, it was like last week, this entire house smelled like dead skunk. It was terrible. I hated it. Proverbs 21:19. What's Proverbs 21:19? Wife? You don't know. How did you not know that off the top of your...
Proverbs 19.
I'm not supposed to Google it.
I know my Bible. Better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome of... I'm dyslexic.
Let me say it. Better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome and nagging wife. Oh.
I'm not nagging.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not nagging.
I made you lemonade today.
She did make me lemonade today. She also made me some nasty-ass apple cider. It was actually really good apple cider. I just don't like apple cider.
Which I didn't know.
Yeah. See, and the only reason why I don't like apple cider is just because when I was like a young children and I got sick, for some reason my mom and dad were like, I know what'll make you feel better. Some apple cider. And so they gave me all this apple cider, and it was disgusting. So I just like associate it with being sick and nasty, and I don't like it. It's deer year in my neck of the woods. I was swinging on the front porch and made eye contact with a deer that shat in my yard. Yeah. We just see skunks, dude. Skunks, squirrels. I haven't seen it. Well, actually, no, I saw a deer the other day. We got lots of deer here in North Carolina, man. They're everywhere. They're dumb. At least the desert doesn't nag. Yeah, I guess. There's one Bible verse I read, or it popped up on my feed the other day, and it talked about how it is very imperative as a man that you should always take great delight in your wife's breasts. And I was like, dude, God knows what he's talking about. Like, when he wrote that down, or when King Solomon wrote that down, or whatever, like, I was like, they understand, you know? Yeah, my mother always force-fed me Coca-Cola without the bubbles. Dude, this barbarian off screen right here, she'll drink, like, soda that is flat. Like, I'm
It
talking,
tastes the same.
it does not taste the same. And she asserts that it tastes the same. And it's like, what are you talking about, you animal? You will not teach our children that.
I'll teach my children not to drink soda. It's not even good.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like...
Sorry, is that too opinionated?
No, you're allowed to have opinions. Like, I give you permission to have opinions. Oh, okay. You're good. Yeah. What are you looking for?
I'm trying to figure out how to apply to this thing.
Anyway, you
I
going
guess
in?
I'll go in, yeah.
Alright, well, enjoy your show. You watching Shameless?
No. I'm trying to watch a new show, but I kind of hate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You want a what? You want a kiss? Oh my goodness.
Bothering you?
Alright. Get out of here. My wife says bye.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me smoke a cigarette off stream.
That's fine. Well. That was my wife. Disgusting. Filth. When will I show you the pipe collection? Ugh! I can't reach it. I mean, I could try again. Ugh! I reached it. Okay, they all kind of fell. Well, you know what? I got this pipe in the UK. Ugh! I got this pipe from, where did I get this one? This one I got, I think, in the mountains of North Carolina. Nice mountain pipe. This is my favorite pipe. Ugh. This pipe I got in Germany. Actually, one of the pipes I got in Germany. I have a few German pipes. There's pipe laying back there. It's a big friend, a big church warden. That one I got handmade by some dude I met at the Renaissance Festival one year, and he made it for me. So that's a big old Gandalf pipe. But yeah. Now that the women are gone, we can talk like men. Yeah, now we can go back to talking about Beowulf and shit. Yeah. That's right, man topics. No, it's not a Gandalf pipe. The Gandalf pipe's over there. I have a few of those. My first pipe was a church warden. That's like a long neck pipe. It was a crappy $20 plastic, nasty ass, bitch ass, ugly ass, fat ass, dumb ass pipe that I got from Amazon for $20, if I didn't already say that. And I smoked the crap out of that thing. It was great. So that was my Gandalf pipe for a while. I love it. I've been drying a chunk of olive wood to make into pipes. That's cool. By the way, some barbarian followed. His name is Hearthwield. Dude, Hearthwield, nice name. Very nice name. I love it. Thank you for the follow. Some dude also just subscribed to me on YouTube. That's great. That's awesome. Hopefully he liked my Origins of the Draenei video. Which nobody liked, unfortunately. But at the same time, that's my fault. Dude, I was working on that video, and I knew that video wasn't going to do good. I knew it. I know I've talked about this Draenei video like twice now, but like, I was so disappointed because like, that's a really well put together video. And I put that thing out, and man, I knew like halfway through, I was like, dude, Blizzard's doing all their midnight crap right now. Ain't no one giving a damn about a bunch of blue-skinned goat monsters from outer space right now. And I was right. So, but, you know, we have to cross our fingers and hope, my friends, that maybe one day Blizzard will release another Draenei expansion. And then I said earlier in the stream, I almost said the video, that I'm working on a video right now about Silver Pine Forest, and how Silver Pine Forest is one of like the best zones in Classic WoW, even though nobody realizes it because they're stinky. And yeah, so that video is going to come out. That video is probably also going to do pretty poor, but you know what? I want to believe. I want to believe. I liked your Draenei video, Nixxiom. Thank you. I fucking love the Draenei Nixxiom. Thank you. Thank you. The Draenei are awesome. Now, unfortunately, Blizzard has completely forgotten them in the lore. But then again, Blizzard forgets most things in the lore. Sometimes they even forget how to make a good game. But that's okay. You know? That's okay. Hopefully Midnight will be pretty good. I watched that 30-minute, thing yesterday with, the really, smooth as butter narrator talking about pretty much everything we already knew and everything we've already seen, but just kind of, more shots of it. It looks pretty good. I like it. I feel bad for Akama still being in Outland when he could have joined the Prophet Velen. Dude, Akama got shafted, bro. Dude, Blizzard was like, yeah, just forget about this guy. Nabundo, man, dude, Blizzard was setting up Nabundo to be the thing. He was gonna be the greatest shaman ever. And then Blizzard was like, yeah, but Thrall's cooler, so let's do Thrall and make him the shaman instead. Oh, okay. That's fine. It's only been 8 years since they were relevant back in Legion. Ugh. Fuck Akama. Akama's a bitch. Yeah, Akama, to be fair, is a filthy traitor, if you think about it. I mean, Illidan gave him, an entire temple to live in. He gave him food and water, and there was, a whole, military that protected him and stuff, and Akama was Akama was, the stereotypical, bitching wife, who's just, she has everything, but she's just gotta find something to complain about. And Akama's like, but I remember the temple as it used to be, not the abomination it's become. And it's bitch, even with Illidan gone, ain't no Draenei gonna come out here and live in this freaking hellhole desert and worship the light here? You crazy? It's done. It's over. Anyway, so he kind of was a little bit of a bitch if you think about it, but that's okay, because maybe one day we'll see Akama again and he'll do something really cool. Maybe. We'll see. Every death in Legion is his fault. I don't remember the intro to Legion well enough to know if that's true or not, but yeah. Legion Remix will probably be pretty fun, I guess. I had plans to do a whole, lore video for, people that don't know anything about, Legion and stuff. Probably record that soon, get that edited. Poor Illidan, he lived in a desert and had a nagging wife. Yeah. Illidan's an interesting character. I'm not really too interested in seeing him again in Legion, but I don't know. There's something about Illidan that I don't like, and I don't even know what it is. He's just... I think it's his choice of company. If I was walking down the street and I met some dude that looked like Satan and he was hanging out with a fish that could talk, I don't think I'd like him. I don't think I would. I think I'd look at him and be like, you're weird. And I think that's how I look at Illidan. Oh, and then of course he's got a little, blood elf, twink boy as well that follows him around. Kalphus. So it's a little weird, And I think that's what it is. At least with his superior brother Malfurion hangs out with the trees. And treants and sentinels and archers and things. He's cool. I'm Team Akama. I don't think Akama was aware that Illidan was working on stopping the Burning Legion. Akama just wanted a place for his people to live. Meanwhile, Illidan wanted bodies to throw the Legion. True. Not being funny, I think that one of the interesting things about the writing of Burning Crusade is actually that. Illidan... well, let's back up. Actually. There's one thing wrong with what you said. Sort of. So, let me explain something. For those that kind of miss something in the lore. Pre-TBC, Illidan was not, dedicated to fighting the Burning Legion. Illidan was, an agent of the Burning Legion. And all throughout Warcraft 3, Illidan is just depicted over and over and over as just being, this magically addicted sorcerer that's just looking for more power.
even in the War of the Ancients trilogy, it's like, yeah, you know, I'm doing this to fight the demons, but in reality, he was doing it to get more power. Like, Illidan, you know, like, one second he'll be working for the Burning Legion, the next he's against the Burning Legion. He's kind of like this weird contradiction of a character. And I will admit that that's what makes him more interesting. Because, like, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to play as Illidan, the demon hunter, who is working for Kil'jaeden to destroy the Frozen Throne. It's kind of like... It's like a contradiction. But everyone's a contradiction, you know? You know, we're all hypocrites. You know, when we say, I'm this, but then, you know, secretly you're not. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's interesting. But I think that, like, in TBC... Like, I don't even remember a specific quest where, like... It's been so long, though, to be fair. Like, it's been I mean, TBC was, like, what? Like, a million years ago. I don't even remember a single quest where Illidan is like, we are building an army to fight the Burning Legion. It was more so just like Illidan was just hiding. Because he knew that Kil'jaeden was going to come and, like, kick his ass. Because he failed to melt the Frozen Throne. So he was just kind of, like, chilling at the Black Temple, waiting for Kil'jaeden to show up to kill him. And then all the heroes show up because he's like, I'm the Lord of Outland for this 2 minutes that I have until Kil'jaeden shows up here and turns my anus inside out. You know, so, like, and then we show up and we're like, hey, we're actually going to kill you instead. And he's like, oh, damn it. And that's TBC. But maybe Illidan was trying to build an army to fight the Burning Legion. I don't remember. But if he was, then, yeah, you kind of have that interesting conflict where Illidan's trying to fight the Burning Legion, Akama just wants his home back, and maybe Akama should have left Illidan alone. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, Illidan was just an agent of the Burning Legion. Like, he was one of those people where the Burning Legion would tell him to do something, and he would be like, yes, I will do that. I will do that immediately. And then, like, immediately he would then have, like, an opportunity to, like, steal some of their power, like the Skull of Gul'dan, and he's like, I want that. And so he'd steal the skull, and then he'd go back to working for the Legion, and then he would stop working for the Legion, and then, yeah. So, anyway, have I read the Illidan book? Did I read the Illidan? That's the book that came out during Legion, right? If so, no. I did not. I stopped reading the Warcraft books when Cataclysm came out. Because... What's up, Copera? Or Copria? Welcome to the Cigar Stream. I stopped reading the Warcraft books around Cataclysm because when I was a young children and I played Wrath of the Lich King, it was when my great hatred of Blizzard Entertainment began. Because Blizzard Entertainment killed the Lich King. Even though they had established, like, beforehand in the lore that, like, you couldn't kill him. Like, he was literally a demigod. Like, his helmet, the Helm of Domination, was enchanted in such a way that, it, like, the wearer couldn't be, like, you know... Like, they couldn't be... Or he was completely immune to all magical harm. And then, like, his armor was made of, like, the purest of serenite or whatever, so it made him, like, impervious to all physical harm. Anyway, the Lich King was unkillable. And then Blizzard was like, well, we need a boss. And so we killed him. And my young self could not forgive Blizzard for that, because I literally had a, like, altered Arthas in my closet growing up. And, you know, back in the day, back in Wrath of the Lich King, I refused to even step into Icecrown Citadel. Because I was like, I protest. I protest the death of Arthas. I refuse to step into this raid. And I never did the raid. And I was going to do the raid when Wrath of the Lich King got re-released. But then life got a little complicated. I don't remember what was going on during that time of my life, but life got a little bit weird, and I wasn't able to enjoy Wrath as much as I wanted to. But to be fair, by the time Wrath of the Lich King hit Ice Cream Citadel again, the whole thing was just overwhelmed with bots. Blizzard decided in their greed to put the WoW token into Classic WoW, and everyone and their mom hated everything. So, yeah. Arthas was my imaginary friend. He was my favorite lore character. Dude, I had an imaginary friend when I was a little children. His name was Boy. Boy. And I had him until I was like 5 years old, and then I ran him over with my bike. Because I was like, I'm too old for you. So I told him to, like, lay down on the ground, and I ran him over with my bicycle. True story. Yes. I don't read. I'm selectively illiterate. I do inhale audiobooks, though. Nothing wrong with that. There is great pleasure in, like, sitting down and just reading. But audiobooks, they're great, man. I love just listening to audiobooks, like, when I'm in the gym or if I'm, like, driving, like, a really, like, long distance or something. It's a lot of fun, man. Do you read to my child? Sometimes, but not too much yet. I'm kind of waiting for her to, like, gain more consciousness, I guess, because she's only, like, 4 months old. But I was, showing off earlier on stream for those that were here, and for those that weren't here, that I got, like, this really nice copy of Beowulf to read to her when she's, a little bit older. Of course, I mean, I'm rereading The Fellowship of the Ring right now. I'm on, like, a really big, like, Lord of the Rings kick. Me and my friend, well, actually, you guys know him, Exiled Ranger. He's in the chat. Me and him are, well, I don't know if he's still here, but he gifted a sub earlier. He was that guy. Me and him actually have been talking behind the scenes, and we're, I'm really enjoying making all the lore content for World of Warcraft, but WoW is not my only interest. Like, nowhere, I mean, it's an interest, but, it's not the only one, and so I was talking to him the other day about, like, dude, let's make a Lord of the Rings, like, YouTube channel and talk about, like, the lore and the storytelling and stuff that comes from Lord of the Rings. Do some, like, video essays and whatnot. And so we kind of started brainstorming, because, tons of people have done that. Tons of people have made videos like, who is Gandalf the Grey? So what makes us different? And so we talked about that, and I don't want to say anything too loud yet, but I have a meeting with a company this Friday, a Lord of the Rings inspired company, and I met the CEO of said company at the last big LARP event that I went to, and we're going to be talking about some things that relate to that Lord of the Rings channel, so we'll see. And then I made my Nixxiom Cigar Lounge channel. Made that recently, so this VOD will go up on that channel, and maybe I'll take some highlights out and make separate videos. That'll be a low-effort editing channel, though. I don't want it to take up too much of my time. Me and Krendor are recording the next Two Nerds podcast here soon, so Two Nerds podcast is back, so I'm very much enjoying that. There is a part of me, I admit, and I am taking feedback on this. My main Nixxiom channel, I kind of really just want it to be lore and storytelling. Like, I don't really want to, like, upload videos on there, like, my thoughts on patch 13.7. I don't really want to do that. I'd rather kind of put that all on a separate channel now, and maybe even open up the niche on that separate channel to be like I just talk about, like, a lot of stuff in regards to games, because WoW is not the only game that I play. So it would be interesting to not only discuss, like, what's going on with, like, World of Warcraft and stuff, but be able to open up the niche to just talk about, like, oh, the recent, some other, like, like, gaming controversies and things, and discuss it all on, like, a separate channel. Because, like, the thing is, like, there's a lot of people are subscribing to the Nixxiom channel right now because of the lore content. But then if I put out something that's, like, not lore content, like, nobody cares, and it just kind of hurts me in the algorithm. So it's always better just to kind of release the same type of video on your channel over and over, like, to really be niche specific. So I've been thinking about creating another channel called Nixxiom Talks, where I just, that's where I'm going to share, like, my thoughts on Midnight, or something. But at the same time, like, I admit, it kind of sucks, because you're like, okay, well, I'm going to make this new channel, and then I got to grow it, and it's not even monetized, and so you're kind of, like, spending, it depends on the video, but let's say you spend 12 hours editing a video, and then you release it, and it's like, there's nothing, there's no profit behind it. And unfortunately, I'm not 17 years old living at home anymore. Like, I've got bills to pay, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, ugh. But right now, admittingly, though, I think one of the pleasures of fatherhood is kind of like, it really puts a fire under you to just kind of, like, work and build more things. Like, I'm doing the Nixxiom stuff right now, like the main channel.
I'm working on this Lord of the Rings channel right now. Me and a friend of mine, well, two friends of mine. I mean, we're talking about like some, maybe doing like a bigger coffee thing, like in the future. Maybe even opening up a coffee shop, in Greensboro, North Carolina. We will see. But that's like way down the road probably. I'm working on the Nixxiom and Mukluk novel. I'm working on another novel. I am working on another channel that I'm not going to talk too loudly about, but it's a music channel where I'm going to be doing a bit of music, but I don't want to talk about that just yet. Two Nerds Podcast, Nixxiom Talks channel, the Cigar Lounge channel. So I'm kind of doing a lot right now, and it feels pretty good. Feels pretty good, I gotta admit. If I could change one thing about Warcraft, what would I change? I would change, in my opinion, I wouldn't change anything like in the, like if you mean like lore and story, that's one thing, but if it was up to me, I would change Blizzard's mentality when it comes to WoW. I think Blizzard has strayed very far from the Blizzard that made like classic WoW, TBC, and Wrath of the Lich King, obviously. And sometimes I wonder, like if I sat down with the Blizzard devs and I said to them, who's your target audience? Who are you making this game for? Describe the person to me. I'm curious to see what they would say. Because back in the day, classic WoW, TBC, Wrath, whatever, probably the target audience of World of Warcraft, if you had to describe that individual, it's like, well, it's probably a guy from the ages of 17 to maybe like 35, probably a nerd, a little bit of an introvert, probably likes D&D, Lord of the Rings, fantasy, probably smells a little bit, yada, yada, yada. If you were to describe the target audience of World of Warcraft today, and I don't even really mean this like as an insult or anything, it's just an observation, it kind of seems to be like a college-age woman who has no free time whatsoever because of her studies, and who really likes collecting pets and shiny things in games. And it seems like that's like the direction, like that's the person that Blizzard is appealing to nowadays. And it's like a Disney game. It's very soft. It's very soft game nowadays. It's a very much of a it's a really big collector's game nowadays. It's a very big like jangle keys in front of your face. You have a baby, or if you have a child, you ever like dangle keys in front of their face, and they're like, it's kind of like that. It's not really about building a world and like a greater story and like bringing you into like the immersive quality of the game and stuff like that. It's not really a world. It's not really a role-playing game. It's just more of like a thing to do, to like kill a little bit of your time. And that's a shame, because unfortunately it's not just Blizzard that is affected by that. It's many companies that make RPGs and MMOs. They're not really making worlds anymore. They're just kind of just making games. As strange as that sounds, I think the only company that has come out recently that actually is really dedicated to making a world is Warhorse Studios, with Kingdom Come Deliverance and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And it's not surprising why they put so much love and care into like their world building and into like the games that they've made, because all they're doing is they're literally taking the country outside of the window, the lands of Poland and stuff, or not Poland, Czechoslovakia or whatever. Like, they're like taking that area and they're just turning it into a game. And so, I don't know. There's a great love of hearth and home that you feel from those developers as they make a game that is, centered in like the land of their birth, and I think that's just so cool. There's no reason to have a Horde Alliance faction. There isn't. It's weird. Like, even like the whole controversy between like, there's this huge controversy in Midnight about Silvermoon City. A lot of people are pissed off because of the way that Blizzard is handling the city of Silvermoon, because a chunk of Silvermoon is going to be open to everybody, and the rest of it is going to be Horde only.
And there are people saying, no, Silvermoon is a horde city. We cannot have Alliance walking in Silvermoon. Ridiculous. And then there are people saying, we are Alliance. We should have our own city, like somewhere else. You know, or the city should be like properly divided or something, yada yada. And it's kind of strange, because it's like, there's actually a lot of like different opinions about the whole Silvermoon issue. And it's weird to me because like the game, like there is no factions anymore. It's like there is no Horde and there is no Alliance. It's just the Defenders of Azeroth. Like, why isn't all of Silvermoon just open to Horde and the Alliance? Why not? You know, and it's just like, well, because, I mean, didn't like the Horde and the Alliance just work together to fight Xalatath and, you know, Dimensius and stuff? Didn't they, you know, work together to fight the, like, you know, fight Eridicron and everything and, like, all that crap that happened in Dragonflight? Like, where is the Horde, or, like, the faction conflict anymore? It doesn't even exist. So why even have, like, the capital city divided? It's like you're just trying to, like, maintain this illusion that there's, like, a faction conflict, kinda, when there's not. So, anyway, MMOs have stagnated in their scope. Devs haven't looked outside the genre for inspiration to make their games as interesting as other games not considered MMORPGs. One company that has always done a really good job, at least I think so, not perfect, but, like, I really, really like, of course I can't remember, Standing Stone Games. They make Lord of the Rings Online. Lord of the Rings Online is fantastic. Fantastic MMO. I would say Lord of the Rings Online is probably one of the best MMOs out there to play right now. If you want to play, like, an MMO, like a role-playing game that's massively multiplayer. Do I role-play in Lord of the Rings Online? No, I do not. Well, I mean, like, I'll like, role-play in my head. Like, you know, while I'm, like, questing, kind of like if you're playing, like, Skyrim or something alone in your bedroom. Like, I'll be role-playing in my head. But, like, role-play where I'm doing, like, /E emotes and I'm talking to the community, no. Just because I, back in the day, like, I was a really big role player in World of Warcraft. Like, I role-played for years in WoW. And, I mean, there was a time in my life where I would wake up and I'd role-play for 16 hours straight. And then I would go to bed. And I would do the same thing the next day. It was great. I loved it. Really improved my grammar. Taught me a lot about, like, storytelling. Exposed me to a lot of, like, books and whatnot. It was fantastic. It's because of role-playing that I was in honors English, like, all throughout high school, because my grammar was, like, so much better than everybody else's. Because in role-play, you gotta have good grammar to really communicate. And I was also playing on EU servers, so, you know, I had to have a really good grammar to communicate with all these Europeans that barely spoke English. So it was awesome. Anyway, it's not a brag, role-play was very beneficial to me. And then I got a little bit older, and I didn't really have as much time to role-play anymore, and I kind of shifted to, I guess, boring adult life. You know, just working and making money and, you know, learning how to invest money in the stock market and, you know, crap like that. You know, boring stuff, you know, the waste of time crap in life, you know what I mean? Well, not waste of time, but, like, the dullard side of life. So I got really invested in that. Didn't have time to, you know, roleplay as much. But then I really got back into, like, D&D. And tabletop role-playing was like, oh, like, you know, tabletop role-playing is awesome. I've never played D&D online before. And I honestly don't want to. I really love the table. I love sitting around and building, like, the terrain and whatnot. I'm painting all the minis. It's awesome. And then eventually that transformed into LARPing. So, you know, getting in, like, a full garb and going to, like, an event over, like, a weekend where you're just in character for, like, 48 hours straight. You know, and you're walking around talking with a different voice or whatever. You know, it's a lot of fun. I'd love to go to Beacoline up in, like, Canada at some point. It's like the biggest LARP event in North America. I can't afford that. Maybe one day I'll be able to, but, you know, yeah. even if I didn't have a family, I can't afford that right now. But maybe one day, we'll see. Nixxiom, it's been so long. What is up, Adam Tech? What is up, everybody? How have I been? Been doing great, man. I already finished pretty much my entire 4-month update of everything that's been going on in my life, so I don't want to repeat myself. But we've been talking a little bit about WoW and Midnight and, like, the direction that MMOs have gone in, and yeah. It'll be interesting though, seeing like how Blizzard will change now that Chris Metzen is back in like the picture, and also like kind of like how culture is kind of shifting a lot. Like internet culture has shifted a lot, even in like the past like few years. A lot of the things that I guess previously were like the zeitgeist of the West have kind of died out and is being that's a topic for another like cigar talk, but there's a lot of change in Western culture right now, and I'm curious to see how that's going to affect like games going forward. EA just got bought out by Saudi Arabia, fun fact. At least I think so, if the memes are correct. That's going to be interesting. So, yes, maybe EA, in some strange way, will become a good company again. If they ever were. We will see. Another thing that bothers me a lot with current WoW is that all of the races basically have the same personality traits. Yes. I remember the Blood Elves used to be very narcissistic-ish, and now they're your friendly neighborhood Hugo boss model. All the races are the same, yeah. Like, it's like this weird, like... It's, you know, I'm working on one video in the background. I haven't started on it yet, but I have notes written about it. And it's about... if you watched my video, the most terrifying, like, quest in Classic WoW, that's all about the Agaman Mills family crypt quest line, one of the things that I touch on in that video is how evil the Forsaken are in Classic WoW. They are evil. Unapologetically evil. And this is completely thrown out the window. Like, in modern WoW, like, as time goes on. In Classic WoW, there is only one NPC, one, that shows any sort of consideration, like, for the other races of the Horde. Like, a little bit of care. And she is even referred to as a weirdo by, like, other Forsaken. Like, oh, something is wrong with her. You know, like, she should have this disgusting level of disgust towards the living. You know, even our allies. And I don't know, like, if you look at, like, the Forsaken in Classic WoW, they're so schemy. They're so evil. Like, workers in the shadows. And it's awesome. If you look at, like, the orcs have this tension in them. Because on one hand, you've got these orcs that want to follow Thrall and his example of, we need to be better than we were. Than, you know, when... Like, the orcs that paved the path of glory in Hellfire Peninsula with the bones of the Draenei men, women, and children. We gotta be better than that. And some orcs are like, yeah, maybe we should. And there are a lot of other orcs that are like, nah, bro, Thrall's an idiot. Like, we just want to go kill people and fight and, like, die in glorious battle. So you kind of have this, like, weird, like, division that exists among the orcs. You also have their, like, very, like, tribalistic societies and stuff. That's a whole thing. Like, every single culture has this distinct identity in, like, the old game. And that's one of the things that I really appreciated about it. By tension, you mean sexual tension, right? Yes. There's also a lot of things... There's also a lot of things, like, in Classic WoW, like, in its old storytelling, that I really appreciate, that I don't think Blizzard was even really thinking about it when they, like, made the game. Like, for example, one thing that's interesting that I always thought was kind of cool about Classic was that in Classic WoW, the original game, the only faction leader relationship that's kind of like confirmed or whatever that we're kind of aware of is Malfurion and Tyrande Whisperwind. Every other faction leader is single. Why? Like, they're... Like, you got Bane Bloodhoof, for example. Or Cairn Bloodhoof, sorry. Well, he's got a son. His name's Bane, but where's his wife at? Maybe the Tauren have some weird mating ritual where they don't actually get married. They just kind of, like, mate, and he just has a son. Or something. Maybe Cairn Bloodhoof's gay. You don't know. Thrall has a wife. No, he doesn't. He don't have no wife in Classic WoW. He has a wife now. Now he does. I'm talking about Classic. I'm talking about Cataclysm.
You know, Magni Bronzebeard, where's his wife at? Sylvanas Windrunner. Well, there's like an implication that her and Nathanos had a thing going on, but that's not really confirmed in Classic. You kind of can, like, insert your own little headcanon. Thrall. Thrall doesn't have a partner. Is Thrall gay? Is he gay? Like, I remember back in the day, all those years ago, being in, like, lore discussions where people were actually adamant that, like, oh, like, these certain characters, like, swing this way or that way. And it was interesting because it wasn't answered. Like, it wasn't. And so you kind of could, like, insert your own headcanon a little bit into the world. And that was cool. You know, this is just one example. You know, there's many others. Like, oh, the dragons and the titans, you know, like, you know, but that was just one little observation. Like, you know, why does nobody have partners? You know, it's kind of strange. So, and I like that when it comes to, like, storytelling in MMOs and video games, where, like, there are some answers that are not, like, present. Some things that are not explained. And it's why I hate things like when Blizzard puts out a book like The Chronicle. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, not all of this crap has to be explained. You know, like, you're killing the wonder. You're killing the awe. You're killing the imagination. You know, how does the shadow work compared to the holy light in Classic WoW? You don't know. You're just like, well, the shadow just seems to be the opposite of the light. How exactly are Scarlet Crusaders able to wield the light against even, like, the innocent and stuff? Well, what does that say about the light? Does the light come from, like, a god or something? Like, what's the relationship between... And what does that say about that god? What is the relationship between the holy light and the light of Elune? You know, like... It's anybody's guess. It's anybody's guess. And that's what made it so good. You know, it opened up this realm of imagination. And now it's like, oh, well, the shadow's void, dude. Oh, the light... light can be used for bad or evil or good or bad. You know, there's no, like, you know, deity behind it or something. Like, blah, blah, blah. You know, so it's all explained now. It's all explained away. And it's like, okay. Whatever. So, it's just one of the things that I appreciated about, like, the old game. You know. Blizzard took their mythos, as you could say, and they reduced it to a logos. I talked about that on one Cigar stream. So, very similar to what the Greeks did, like, with their mythology and stuff. They weren't satisfied with myths. They had to explain everything. Because man is a creature of reason and rationale, and it is through reason that we reach divinity. It is through reason that we reach God. And we still, I guess, have the effects of that to this day in Western culture because of what the Greeks did. Brother, Taurens can be warlocks now, if I remember correctly. They can. How does that make sense? Well, some Tauren decided he just want to be consorting with them demons, I guess. Like, okay. Alright. Going back to the original point, yeah. Like, there's a lot more racial identity in, like, old Classic WoW. There certainly is. And, like, now, they're just skins. It's all the same thing, really. Sometimes you get, like, a little bit of cultural flair here or there, but not really. Not really. Some Tauren decided to be edgy. Dude, we got Tauren rogues, bro. You thought Tauren Warlock was crazy? What do you hear about Tauren Rogue, man? It's like, come on, bro. Like, just... Damn it. Like, listen, I'm a DM for D&D, and I'm big on immersion. Like, I'm kind of ridiculous with my immersion. Like, I mean, I do, like, LARPing and stuff. So, like, you know, I go to, like, these, like, events where it's, like, really high immersion. You know, like, you gotta really take it seriously. And when you just do things that just don't make any sense, or it's just ridiculous, just for the sake of, like, well, the player wants to play as the Tauren Warlock, so we gotta appease the player. It's like, well, why not, like, appease the world? You know, why not, like, you know, add to the quality of the world and its immersive, you know, nature? I don't know. Not enough people care. Well, just take a step back. People really care about immersion in their role-playing games. They really care about the immersion in the world building and so on and so forth. They do. You talk to players about this sort of stuff and they love it. And they love games that they can get lost in, and, you know, they can boot up that game, Skyrim, whatever, and suddenly all the political BS and,
like the woes of having to pay bills and the nagging wife and the whatever, it's all gone for a few hours. And now suddenly, holy shit, all you care about is the Stormcloak Rebellion. Holy shit, all you care about is the Forsakens, like, conflict with Archmage Arugal in Silverpine Forest for a little bit. And it's freaking great. Players love the immersive quality of games, but for some reason game devs don't. Because immersion is too subjective. It doesn't equal, like, a clear profit. So, yeah. Ew, Stormcloaks. Dude, Stormcloaks belongs to the Nord. Or, Stormcloaks. Skyrim belongs to the Nords, bro. Do you have a big humidor? It's like... It cost me, like, $150. Bought it, like... I don't know, several years ago. I had a small one originally, like, your standard box that you can get on Amazon for like $30. Had that for a bit, but those aren't really that good. They're very cheaply made, so I got like an actual proper, like, it's like a little refrigerator almost. That's cool. But, yeah. If Blizzard owned Lord of the Rings Online, there would be friendly wars. Oh, dude, no, dude. Don't let Blizzard within 10 fucking feet of Lord of the Rings Online. No way. It was known as a departure from the series for letting you do anything, be anyone with no consequences. Yeah. I was actually... my wife yesterday evening, we were sitting on the couch in there, and I said to her, sometimes I have this dream where I walk into the living room, and I see you sitting here playing Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch, and I sit down and I'm watching you playing. And she said, and I quote, "What's Skyrim?" And I was like, "What's Skyrim?" She was very sheltered, I think. I know. And so, yeah. So I showed her the Skyrim trailer, and I explained to her what it was. She played Oblivion, though. I made her play that one day when the Oblivion remaster... No, it was before the Oblivion remaster came out. I was playing Oblivion, and I was enjoying it, and then I got burned out on it. And then they were like, the Oblivion remaster is on the way. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? It's, Oblivion remaster came out. I played it for a bit, but I was already burnt out. So, anyway, Turtle WoW is doing awesome. Oh yeah, Turtle WoW is doing great. Yeah. Yeah, Turtle WoW is doing fantastic. They did that like little preview of like Unreal Engine 5 recently that they did. I'm not really interested in that, I admit. Like, I think the only thing that sort of interests me in an Unreal Engine 5 World of Warcraft is walking through Duskwood while holding a torch. But that's literally a 10-minute experience, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done. I prefer, like, my classic WoW, I guess. The old, like, shitty pixel graphics and stuff. ESO, when it was just the base game, ESO was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing ESO in the time that I played it. And I've tried to play it even recently. I played it on stream recently, actually. And it's like, I really burned myself out of ESO. I put so many hours into that game so quickly. I did everything. From, crowning emperors to doing the raids. So much PvP on stream. So many dungeons. Going through the zones and 100%ing them in terms of quests and stuff. Dude, it was insane, the amount of ESO that I was playing for a few years ago. Some of you guys maybe even watched that, because I was streaming it at the time. There was that one day where we, like, crowned an emperor on stream, and we had, like 1,500, 2,000 people watching or something. That was insane. But, man, like, every time I try to play ESO now, it's kind of like, I just can't get into it. Like I do a little bit. I'm like, man, I remember like really liking this game, but it's just like, it always feels like when I start playing it today, like I'm done. I have done this. I'm good. And it's so weird that the only game that I can play that I never experienced that feeling is like old WoW, like classic TBC, Wrath, like yeah. Guild Wars 2 is the same thing. Guild Wars 2, like, I've played a decent amount of it. I really should play more of it, because I do enjoy it, but there's something about it And I don't know what it is. There's something about Guild Wars 2 that just... It's like I'm right there. Like, I'm about to get really into it, and I just can't do it. Like, it's a really fun game, though. It's really fun, but it's like I can't just... It really doesn't pull me fully into the world, I guess. Kate Beckinsale voiced a character, so I had to listen to the voice lines for myself. I would throw myself off a cliff for that woman. Kate Beckinsale? Let's look at her. Let me judge your taste in women aggressively. Hold on, my wife messaged me. Let me see what she said. She says that she needs me to go on a drive with her before 11. It's 9:30 right now. Hold on. Yeah, comma, we can go and pick that up, period. I can wrap up in the next 20 minutes or so, period. Anyway, what was her name? Kate Beckinsale? Kate Beckinsale. Oh, this girl. Wait, do I know this person? Wait, what movies was Kate Beckinsale in? The Underworld Woman. Oh, that's where I know her from. Yeah, she was the one that, like, made, like, every young teenage boy back in the day, like, obsessed with, like, goth girls. Yeah, I remember her. I remember. What I don't remember, though, friends, is anybody hitting the follow button recently. Guy hit that follow button. That's right. Pearl Harbor. What I don't remember is Pearl Harbor. Can someone explain it to me, please? See, was my Transformers Megan Fox. I never thought Megan Fox was attractive. I just didn't. Everyone, like, you know, when I was a teenager, everyone was jacking off to Megan Fox, and I was like, I mean, she's alright, you know, like, I guess, but not really. Do you inhale that cigar like a cigarette? No, you never inhale a cigar. Never inhale it. If you do, you'll regret it really fast. Who's my all-time favorite WoW streamer? Probably me. Probably me. No, my favorite WoW streamer would probably be... Let me think. Whose streams have I had the most fun watching? Like going back through the memory. My first instinctual answer is WoW Krendor. It's WoW Krendor, because he's just so easy to listen to. He's very easy to talk to as well. I really liked S-Fan's streams back in the day. S-Fan was fun to watch. I actually asked him to be on the Two Nerds podcast like several weeks ago, but we never really followed up on it. But maybe I should hit him up again about that. That'd be kind of cool. Nobble. I didn't really watch too much Nobble live. I would just watch his YouTube videos. Yeah. So you just puff it for the aroma. So what you do with like a cigar is what you're doing is you're pulling the smoke into your mouth and you're holding it like on your tongue, and then you're just pushing it out. So you're just tasting it. And then depending on the type of soil that the tobacco leaves are grown in, that is what changes the flavor of the cigars and gives them different profiles. But a cigar is just tobacco leaves. There's nothing added to it. So, like, you know, if you get a cigarette, I mean, a cigarette has like 10,000 chemicals added into it to, like, you know, keep it lit, to give it different tastes, to make it more addicting, to bring out the nicotine more, blah, blah, blah. Cigar, you don't got that. So you just have rolled up leaves. So that's why, you know, you guys see me, like, you know, the cigar will go out every now and then when I'm not puffing it, because it's just like lighting a leaf on fire in your backyard. There's water in it, and so it'll, unless it's super dry, obviously, but that's not, if a cigar is super dry, it's lost a lot of its flavor. You want a little bit of that humidity in it, a little bit of that moisture, and so it'll just go out. Speaking of, hold on. That's why you should try to puff it at least once every 45 seconds or so. Give it like the old 3-puff combo. Very similar to pipe tobacco. You don't inhale pipe tobacco either. Some people do, but you really shouldn't. So, real men do snus, not cigar. Yeah, dude. Anyway, when's your next LARP event? I really wanted to go to Hearthlands again, down in South Carolina, or Weekend Warrior this year, but I really can't afford it, dude. Like, I got the kid and stuff, and we got this new house, and I've been putting a lot of repairs into this home. Like, dude, I'm fucking broke. I don't got nothing, like, in the bank. We just got screwed over with that car. I told that story earlier, so I am living bill to bill right now, my friend. So I ain't got no money to go out to no, like, big event and pay, like, $300 to, like, go to a thing over a weekend. But, once all, like, the home, like, the repairs and stuff are done on the home, and, we're kind of, like, more, like, squared away and things are a little bit more comfortable, then, like, so just kind of like in one of those moments in life where, you can't really do too many fun things. But luckily for me, I got my cigars, and I've got my books, and I got my pieces of paper to, like, write my stories on. So I am content. But next year I will definitely try to go to Hearthlands again, down in South Carolina, or Weekend Warrior. I will be there. So, yeah. That'll be fun. Of course, I'll be at I will try to go, well, yeah. This November, I'll try to be at the North Carolina Renaissance Festival as well. That'll be cool. And me and my friends, we're actually talking about doing a little bit of a LARP event, but not like an actual LARP event. Sort of near where I live, it's about like an hour that way, is Uwharrie National Forest. And I was talking to my friends about, like, what if we all got together at Uwharrie National Forest, parked the cars, and we were in full LARP kit, full armor, everything, and we either before we go out there or when we first get there, before we get in kit, we, like, create, like, D&D characters. All just kind of like fighters, warriors, whatever, barbarians. And then we then go on, like, this LARP hike for a few miles, and we actually are LARPing as those characters, and we're going to somewhere, some destination that the DM will, like, determine. And then it'll just be a big loop, and we'll end up back at the cars, which will be at a campsite, and then what we'll do is for the rest of the day, we will play D&D in kit, like, on a table there, as those characters that we were just LARPing as. And I thought about inviting, like, a lot of people to that. Like, I've got, like, 3 people that are definitely, like, oh, I want to go, but I was thinking about putting out the call if, like, more people wanted to go to that. Maybe try to get, like, a dozen or something. So, is there more about the Nixxiom and Mukluk novel you want to share? Yeah, so... 1 second, it's going out. One second. So the Nixxiom and Mukluk novel. The novel is called Into the Lair of the Necromancer. I can tell you that. It is the first part of 3 books. Honestly, I'm writing the story for my daughter and for my future children so that they can, read the story of Nixxiom and Mukluk when they're older. I never have any intention of telling my children Mukluk's real name. He will always be Mukluk. And I'm kind of writing it to be more of a book for maybe like a teenager. It's not really like it's not like reading Lord of the Rings or something. Not too flowerful with its words. So easy reading. And And really, the three books are just kind of three separate adventures that the two heroes, Nixxiom and Mukluk, go on. And there's a lot of familiar characters that pop up along the way, like the noob, for example. If you guys remember Tyler the noob from the How To Class series. Obviously, these books are not set in World of Warcraft. It's in my own fantasy world, but Nixxiom and Mukluk are Nixxiom and Mukluk. Mukluk has his red robe, and Nixxiom has the armor and whatnot. And, yeah, I mean, I could read you like a tiny little bit from it if you're interested. Just something that I read or wrote just the other day. It's my first stream back, you know. I could read something from the book, just for fun. Won't be very long, don't worry. I won't read a ton. So love scene? Nope, no love scenes. This is all rough draft, so it might change, but actually, here we go. This will be good. It'll make you laugh. Here we go. Mukluk had seen Nixxiom in the nude before. Too many times, much to the warlock's displeasure, since the elf was always eager to throw off his armor to make his fights more fair. But each time Mukluk saw the elf's body, he couldn't help but feel a bit of unease in his stomach. Nixxiom, being undead, and being the would-be hero that he was, had gotten into so many fights and suffered so many wounds that his body looked like a mess beneath his clothing. Across his back were multiple holes, gashes, and places where his ribs could be seen somewhat beneath thin, pale flesh. Of course, his body had healed many of these wounds through necromantic magic, but the scars that were left behind were terrible to behold. His chest, in particular, had suffered many stab wounds from knives, spears, as well as a large area that had been broken away by a lance. Nixxiom had competed in a jousting tournament once to try and raise some money for Mukluk and himself. The winner's coin purse would have been a surprise for the warlock, but all that happened was Nixxiom was unhorsed and lost a chunk of himself in the process. It took Nixxiom months to stop feeling sorry for himself for having failed his friend, and Mukluk, having witnessed the whole thing, had scolded Nixxiom repeatedly for it. "What if the man had knocked your upper body clean off your legs, huh?" the warlock had said coldly. "If that happened, how would you make money then? What? Are you going to save people without any feet to walk on? Do you want me to starve, Nixxiom? I know you don't need to eat, but you need to think about those of us that do." Despite his seemingly infinite optimism and hopeful attitude, to Mukluk's astonishment, Nixxiom had fallen into a state of sadness for a time after that scolding. He had stagnated, and had become uninterested in all things, even fighting for glory. The warlock had tried to tempt him with opportunities to wrestle beastmen or bounty hunting to earn some local fame and recognition, but Nixxiom had no interest in it all. When pressed, the elf just called himself a failure, and asked Mukluk to forgive him for the jousting incident, which of course Mukluk did, sort of, but Nixxiom still seemed low. So one evening, much to the warlock's displeasure, he forced himself to apologize to Nixxiom as well for having treated him the way that he did. "You were just trying to help, and for that, I am sorry," the warlock began with a sour taste in his mouth. "It wasn't right of me to yell at you, but do us both a favor and leave the scheming to me in the future, all right, big fella? You're no good dead. Oh, well, dead-er." For the first time in days, Nixxiom looked Mukluk in the eyes and smiled. The elf stepped down into the running water of the creek and sat down on the pebbles beneath the surface. He's bathing himself. He breathed a sigh of comfort and laid back, allowing the water to flow over the whole of him as his face disappeared beneath the surface. Nearby, Mukluk stood waiting and watching for any prying eyes. Nixxiom remained under the water for likely a solid 10 minutes before Mukluk finally picked up a stone and tossed it into the water, striking the elf on the chest beneath the surface of the water. Repetition there, I gotta fix that.
This caused him to rise up and wipe the water out of his eyes, looking around to see where the rock had come from. "Over here," Mukluk said from the shore. "Are you done yet?" "Sorry about that." Nixxiom stood up to his feet and shook the water from his long white hair. "I must have fallen asleep under there." "Well, you look clean enough. Guess that running water really did the trick." Anyway, so the book has a lot of humor in it. I'll say that. Because it is like a lighthearted fantasy book. Like Nixxiom's like Undeath definitely brings out a lot of humor. Him falling asleep under the water, or like he'll get like hurt by something and he won't even notice because he doesn't feel pain. And like, be like, "Nixxiom, you've got an arrow in your back." "Oh shit, I do." Something like that. Why don't you take it more serious, create the new Game of Thrones Harry Potter? Well, I have a more serious book that I'm working on, which is a historical fiction. I could read to compare writing styles, I could read you a small bit from that book if you're interested. No, that's an old thing. I don't know. Yeah, Nixxiom is an elf in the book. From out of the gathering dead came a flowing tide of crimson, running down the length of the beach to be washed away in the foam of the sea. The sand was thick in blood, being... Oh wait, no, this is not what I want. Here we go. So here's a bit from the other book that I'm working on. So forlorn I was, in that mire and muck, wading towards deeper sorrows and an emptiness of spirit. For my father's words were already in my mind's ringing, although I had not yet heard them, those disappointing words and shouts of a possible disownment. But from out of that abyss of shadowed spirit and forgotten virtue, I found something in myself that I did not know the true source. Courage, like a seed deeply planted in my blood, shined through the despair like a glimmering torch in the midnight. Perhaps in that moment a gift from an ancestor whose name I did not know, or of my father's Haminga, it shone forth in me, inspiring movement in my limbs and steadfastness in my heart. I strode forth towards that cave. The mouth of it, that neathing pit, yawned with a sharp wind that howled as I entered. The air seemed to come from the depths rather than from the Daneland, and my light of courage was tested by the thought of what breathed below to create such a howling. The air was thick with the smell of filth and swamp. Flies danced before my face and sought refuge in my mouth from the decay of that wicked place. Yet I proceeded into slime and into the pit where monsters mate and produce offsprings that sicken men's hearts. Christians say that the underworld is a place of flame and screaming spirits. I have heard tell, yet I tell you differently, for I have been there. Feet frozen in the still water, flies that bite, dead fish that float upon the surface of the water, eyes staring into a great nothingness, and the sticky green moss that drips ever so on your forehead from above. And the smell of it all, I say, that is what your hell is, as I would imagine it. The terrible horror of it all. Anyway, that's all I'll read from that book. That's the real big passion project. The Nixxiom and Mukluk is more for my kids. That book's going to be more for... It's going to be kind of more of like a, a real thing of deep passion, I guess. But throughout my whole life, I mean, ever since I was a kid, like I've always been writing. I mean, I always writing and literature, reading has always just been a thing that I've just always done and I've always enjoyed. I mean, my Google Doc account is filled with probably, it's not even an exaggeration, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pages of things that I've written, like essays that I've never released, or scripts for like videos, stories, like tons of stuff.
What time in history is your historical fiction taking place in? Well, I'll give you a hint. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to have to actually leave soon, by the way, fellas, just because my wife needs me to go with her on an adventure to pick something up before it gets too late. Also, I've already been streaming 2 hours. Holy crap. I feel like I just started. Ancient Germanic. About 600 AD. 700 AD, somewhere in there. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of, like, when I was in my history classes growing up, you know, we always heard about the Romans, heard about, like, the Vikings and stuff, and all that good stuff, but, like, the one group of people that really fascinated me, and it's because it's where my family came from, was, like, the Central Germanic tribes. Because there was so little known about them. It was just like, oh, here's these people that apparently, despite being a bunch of unwashed barbarians, they were able to, like, hold off against Rome. And that was so fascinating to me. It's like, well, who are these people? Like, how were they able to do such a thing? Like, what did they believe in? What gifts did they have to, like, prevent, you know, an occupation from, you know, Rome? And there wasn't really too much written about it. I mean, like, you know, you have, like, Tacitus and, like, his accounts of, like, Germania and whatnot, and it just kind of became, like, the big, like, focus of, like, my studies as I got older and older. Like, a lot of people, like, they'll sometimes, like, sneak into, like, a stream, or, like, maybe I'll mention something in a video, and I might mention, like, I don't know, like, something historical, and people will think, like, I'm, like, this big fan of Vikings and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I mean, Vikings and shit, you know, the Scandinavians are cool, but, like, I'm more interested in just the Germanic tribes as a whole, which, to be fair, does include the Norse peoples, since they are Germanic, you know, a part of, like, the Germanic tribes of people, but still. But the Nixxiom and Mukluk novel, I don't know when it'll be done. I was actually hoping to have the entire rough draft done before the end of the year. I don't think that's going to be possible because the child kind of put a little bit of a damper in my writing process. But we will see. We'll see. If not by the end of this year, I'm going to try to get at least the rough draft done, probably in early 2026. And then maybe by the summer, I'm going to start seriously, like, looking around at, like, publishers and stuff. And I'll probably make a YouTube video talking about, like, hey, I'm working on this book, and maybe even calling out to, like, my audience and being, hey, if anybody knows a publisher or maybe works in that industry, like, I'd love to talk to you. And I'm actually thinking, I do, like, audiobooks over on the Nixxiom YouTube channel for, like, channel members. And, you know, I read Road to Damnation. I'm almost done with the Unbroken video. Dude, that Unbroken project, holy crap. I'll talk about that in 1 second. But I actually am thinking that I might do some readings of the book, and I'll make that, like, things for members only. The only difference, or the one thing that I will say, though, is if I do that, like, right now my process is, like, if I do an audiobook for channel members, like Unbroken, it's for them to enjoy for a month in advance. So it will eventually be made public. Like, Road to Damnation is about to be made public. Like, I think on the 8th, I have it scheduled for, 8th of October. But these little behind-the-scenes things of the book, I would not make public, because I don't want all that getting out to, like, the greater public just yet. So it would just be, like, a thing for supporters. And I'll try to, like, find a way maybe that I could get that in, like, your guys' hands too. You know, those of you that, like, decide to like subscribe or something on Twitch as I stream more and more. That would be cool. So, but friends, I think I gotta go. It is 1 minute till 10 where I live, and we have to get up to this place before it was either midnight or 11. I don't remember, but it's about like 20 minutes north of here. So I think I need to call it here. I was not really expecting too many people to show up because it is a Thursday night. I also haven't streamed in a while, so I wasn't really expecting anything. But it was nice to see you all. What was I smoking? I was smoking. What was this thing called again? A AJ Fernandez Heritage. It's my first time smoking this cigar. So, I will, I also have my other, this is one of my favorites, right here. This is a New World cigar, specifically I don't actually know how to pronounce it, even though this is actually one of my favorites recently, but a, Decenio, whatever. I don't know. But, my review of this cigar, this has been really good. I've very much enjoyed it. It's definitely more of a medium to full body cigar. That's what I have experienced while smoking it. I bet if I looked online it would say it's full, but I don't know. I mean, I drank a root beer before I came out here, so I think I'm okay. Flavor profile, definitely a lot more of like, on like the oak wood. Bit of cedar wood in there as well. A little bit of that black coffee taste too, which is always very much appreciated. Not too peppery, so not too spicy of a cigar. It doesn't really burn the tongue too much or stimulate the taste buds like, you know, like a very peppery cigar would. I really like peppery cigars though, but this is not one of them. But still good, still enjoyable. Even after, like, you know, going halfway through it, I mean, flavor is still consistent, still been good. Cost about $15 for this stick, so not too bad of a price. I don't know if I would buy this cigar again, but I did enjoy it. This would be a cigar that I would definitely gift to somebody. Like if one of you guys came over and you were like, I want to smoke a cigar, I'd probably give you this and say, you'll like this. You'll enjoy it. Although I wouldn't give this to a first-time cigar smoker. I wouldn't give this to, like, you know, some skinny dude and be like, oh, here you go. Now, luckily me, I'm fat as hell. You know, like, I'm literally a land asteroid. So, you know, this isn't really so bad. But, you know, probably wouldn't give it to, like, some skinny dude with, like, no meat on his bones. But, because he might get a little cigar sick from this thing. But it's good. Have I tried the Perdomo Maduro, 12 years old? That's a good question. Hold on one second. What is it? A Perdomo Maduro, 12 years old. No, I have not. Recently, the main cigars that I've been smoking, like my current favorite cigars. So the Liga Privada number 9 is my favorite cigar. If you give me a Liga Privada number 9, I love it. Like, get that for me for my birthday. Love it. I'm also one of those freaks that really enjoys Punch Diablos. I think Punch is a very underappreciated cigar brand. At least in my opinion. It's kind of like, I don't know. You don't meet too many people that say they really like Punch cigars. Usually everyone's going for that, like, Romeo and Julieta cigars. But I've become a bit of a fan of New World cigars recently. Like, I got introduced to them recently by a friend of mine who works in a cigar lounge down in Matthews, North Carolina. And he was like, oh, you gotta try these New Worlds. And I tried those, and those have been really good. But yeah. One of my favorite cigars is the Leaf Maduro from Oscar Valenderez. Sorry, I had to lean forward for that one. I don't know if I've smoked that one. Admittingly, I haven't been able to smoke too many cigars over the past, like, few months just because of Baby. You know, Baby kind of takes up a lot of my time, and I don't really have, like, you know, these windows to, like, you know, sit around for, like, 2 hours and smoke. I haven't even been able to play D&D very much the past 4 months, except for when my friend Mukluk was here. But, smoked a really good, it was like an anniversary, like a Leva V recently. That was pretty good, but a Leva V is like, I don't know. in my opinion, Oliva V is it's like the starter cigar. It's the cigar that if someone's never smoked a cigar, you give them an Oliva V and say, here you go, smoke it. It's a really good cigar, but like the problem is it's so popular, it's kind of boring. It's like Jack Daniel's whiskey. Anyone that says, I don't like Jack Daniels, they're a liar. It's like, it's good. It's just so popular, it's boring. You know, it's kind of got like that vibe a little bit. But anyway, I do have to leave though, guys. I do have to like go on this little car adventure. But a Toro Fuente, that's pretty good. But anyway, guys, I do have to roll out. Otherwise, I would hang out for like another hour or something. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Follow the stream if you want, if you're not already a follower. I might be here tomorrow doing another cigar stream, I admit. It's why I bought 2 cigars. So if you want to tell your friends or your mom that Nixxiom is back, you know, me and your mom go way back, you know, it's Nixxiom, you know what I mean? But anyway, like, if you want to tell your friends and your mom that Nixxiom is back to streaming, you know, that'd be great. So, I'll see you guys most likely tomorrow evening, unless something comes up. My father might come to visit, but we'll see. But, I will definitely be doing a cigar stream every single week, either on Friday or Saturday. Maybe Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, depends. You know, life's a little hectic right now, and baby and stuff. So, but at least once a week. So, hit the follow button. Thank you to, like, the people that subscribed today. You guys are awesome, and it is very, very good to be back. I will see you all very soon, and hopefully the sound quality was good throughout this entire stream. I will rewatch it later and see, and hopefully I didn't sound like ass this entire time. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and I'll see you next time.